for Pet Portraits on Southern Living Presents. Hello and welcome to Southern Living Presents. I'm Frances Schultz and we're at the Fairview Inn in Jackson, Mississippi. Today we'll go undercover at a spy museum in Washington, D.C. and we'll sample treats at a favorite Georgia restaurant. But first, pets in Charlotte, North Carolina are ready for their close-ups.
Well, I'm a portrait artist, sort of a really funky portrait artist. Corky. My subject's usually pets, dogs, and cats. I'll do a few people here and there. These dogs. Definitely, I think humor is a real big part of my work.
What was that?
They're just kind of cartoon figures.
When we first got married, I never knew what to expect when I came home. I came home once and this garage door had like 3 huge naked women dancing on it, and you never know what you're going to walk into.
One day I just did a portrait of my cat, Spooner Lee, and people were just asking me about it, and they liked the fact that it wasn't like a pencil rendered completely. It was kind of a sloppy cat painting, but it had more personality than the cat did, sort of animated, and that's how it got started. Who do we have here?
Jesse.
Hey, Jesse, how you doing, little buddy? Let's go take a few photos of her, and then we'll come see what size you guys want and what colors you want, and have a little form. So we'll go ahead and get started. There we go.
Jesse.
Hey, Jesse. Good girl. Hey, Jesse. Oh, actually, that's a great shot. Hey, Jesse. Woof, woof, woof. Woof. I've grown up with just tons of dogs, and they're definitely members of the family, and, you know, you get really bonded with them. And you have to be able to read your client, too. You're doing it for someone, and you're trying to please someone.
She'll give you those puppy dog eyes.
Yeah, yeah.
But then, yeah.
I get them to tell me about the pet and the personality and what traits they want to capture, and whether it's happy or sad or the king of the house or those sort of things. So
She's a Pekingese and a poodle mix. She's a peekapoo. And everybody wants to fix her teeth, and I think that's part of her personality. We've got a baby on the way, and I'm going to stop spending a lot of time with her, I have a feeling. So this is kind of my last little thing for her.
You're not used to being an outside puppy.
when I do a portrait, I sort of stylize them, give them a personality beyond their shell. They have a very fast style, and I think he developed that through just a lot of drawing. I can sort of be God on a painting. I can make this thing any way I want to. So there's that certain freedom and independence that you have that makes it fun. She's not your average happy lab. She's sort of just enduring the photo right here. Almost like a cat, maybe. I'm very sloppy, but I think it gives it a nice approach, you know, not so tight and exact, and just kind of let it go. And if you mess up, you can always start over, paint over it. But I don't get too attached because I always have a new favorite piece. It's kind of like ice cream. I get attached to one flavor and then you want another. My work ranges anywhere from $450 to $4,500. It just really depends on the size and whatever it is. I think the pig is one of my favorite pieces I've done yet. And it's really loose, but it's just so many colors. It's got a real psychedelic kind of feel to it with a flower in its mouth and then the little UFO. So that's definitely one of my favorite pieces. Usually in every painting, I've got the flying orbs, and a lot of the times you'll be able to see the little flying saucers in there, and people tend to like that. Yeah, I definitely have a couple of the UFOs in here, so it's definitely must be Mars. Every place I've ever had all my drawings and paintings up on the wall. Well, since I've been married, a lot less is on the wall. This is my living room, and of course you see I keep a lot of work here, several works in progress, and this is American Gothic, my little version of American Gothic. So you You can see you got all the artwork on the walls over here. Here's my granny. The painting's entitled American Granny, sort of about her being a pioneer in the country. That's her Daniel Boone cap over here. When you have a lot of paintings around, it makes you always sort of inspired to do more, I guess.
That's very cool.
Yeah, I totally get asked all the time about, well, how do I do it? And every artist is going to be totally different. Everybody's situation is going to be different. The only advice I would really have to say is persevere and don't give up on your life's dream. It's great, a lot of fun.
I can't imagine him doing anything other than what he does. He would be dead in his soul if he wasn't painting. I'm amazed, really. I'm just amazed. I could never do it, and I'm very proud of him.
Are you ready for more outrageous?
A North Carolina artist has found a curious niche for his paintings. Call it pup art. Mark Durham isn't the first person to create works of art using family pets for subjects, but his paintings have a very unusual flair that is attracting a following here in the Tar Heel State and across the country. Correspondent David Haynes and photographer Michael McGinnis visited the artist in his Charlotte studio.
His workspace is a converted garage that once served as a body and paint shop. Mark Durham uses bright colors and bold strokes to bring new life to the family dog or cat or pig. Traditionally, pet portraits look like glorified photographs. Nothing in Durham's collection could ever be mistaken for a photo.
One day, I came home with a little cat because I lost my wife's cat, and I got really attached to the little cat, and so that was, she was always around, so I got attached to her, so I started doing some drawings, and then I did some paintings of her, and I just did a series of paintings of her, and from that, one thing grew to another, and I started having people want me to do dogs and cats and pigs and chickens.
An antique show might seem like kind of an unlikely place to find the work of an artist, but this show, just outside of Charlotte, draws more than 60,000 people. And a lot of people who come here are just looking for something different.
I assume it's got blue eyes, the baby blue eyes.
They're turning brown now, but they were the blue eyes that were a little bit dark.
Okay, so do you want them blue in the painting? Or?
Artist license.
Okay, I think blue would be kind of fun.
Yes.
Durham's work caught the eye of this man, a retired New York City police officer and a lover of poodles.
It don't really look like a poodle. Does it look like a poodle now? Yeah. You think that looks like a poodle?
It also draws fans who have purchased or commissioned his work.
I think, first of all, it's really happy, and Mark's work is very animated. But most of all, you can really see the expression of the animal in the painting, and that's what really grabbed me.
Durham is becoming a celebrity artist. His work has been featured in USA Today and the Wall Street Journal. The national exposure has inundated him with commissions. He typically works on 20 to 30 projects simultaneously, often getting up at 3 a.m. to paint undisturbed.
Basically, the color sets sort of the happy mood, which most of them are. It's a very stylized version of a pet or cat or dog or whatever. I like to work with people who give me a lot of freedom. I tell some people that I don't even want to do it because they're looking for something too realistic. But there's more freedom usually with a pet.
But even if he is in the confines of his booth at the noisy antique show, he works on his canvases, adding whimsical touches like UFOs.
My theory is that the dogs are able to sense UFOs and other alien life out there that the human ear is not able to detect, and that's why they're always barking.
That sense of whimsy is what attracted Jane Hickson to a dog portrait.
I used to have a black lab named Esprit, and it just looks just like that dog to me. She was happy, she was fun, she wasn't real bright, but she was always right there for you. And that's what that painting captures for me. I just love it.
Even though it's purple?
Oh, purple's great. Purple's the color of passion. Royalty wear purple.
Durham's wife, Laurel, is in many ways his opposite. While he often uses the garage floor as a paint palette, she is a highly organized technologist working for corporate giant Bank of America.
He thinks in a way that I don't think. And sometimes it drives me crazy. And sometimes I don't understand why he can't be logical about where he puts the dishes away. Can he not see that the plates go where the plates are in the cabinet instead of, you know, on the frying pans? But to each his own.
Durham usually works from pet photographs. He individualizes each piece after interviewing the animal's owner. He says madman impressionist Vincent van Gogh heavily influences his work, although he is quick to point out that he has no plans to follow Van Gogh's example of cutting off an ear. He says the greatest satisfaction in his work comes at the moment a patron sees a commissioned portrait of a pet and is pleased with the quirky piece of art. He can only assume that the pet is also impressed.
Oh, I'm sure that I'm sure that they do. I'm sure that they recognize themselves, and hopefully most of them are happy with it.
Prices for Mark Durham's original paintings began at around $400. Well, that's our show for tonight. Be sure to stay tuned to UNC TV tonight for a special program on this year's Mountain Heritage Day in Cullowhee, North Carolina. That's tonight at 9 p.m. Have a great evening.